się tutaj w klubie Mój komin czyszczy tutaj w klubie Mój komin czyszczy tutaj w klubie Mój komin czyszczy tutaj w klubie
Hello. Okay, I think we should be live. Welcome everybody. Hopefully there's no technical. Bear with us. This is our first time doing this live and our second time doing it ever. So if any of you saw the last episode, we introduced the show a little bit, but I'll just reintroduce our guests, my co-hosts.
Yeah,
so we've got
motherfucker.
We've got Ben Belong, Star Opper, and IGL for Ulster University Unicorns, and my lovely co-host. And then we are also joined by Ryan Fleming, Irish CS Thorin, general tech extraordinaire, wrestling fanatic, I've since learned.
Yes.
And I'm sure you can see that there's a new one joining us. We've got a very special guest who we will get to in a minute. We've got YungLunchMoney from MTU A for the record as well. He's an 18 player, of course, high caliber player. So thanks for joining us.
I'm the filler character, of the team. I'm not actually an A-team player. I'm just filling in.
It's true. And to be fair, they beat my team without him playing. So
yeah, I'm the filler character.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to jump into it too quick.
He's the sub.
But maybe he's the problem.
Warming the bench in the back here,
He's also come very well dressed for us.
Yeah.
Which is much appreciated. The rest of us are. I'm wearing pajamas. So
I'm wearing pajamas under this.
There we go. So I suppose we'll continue on. We'll go on to the show. So we're starting off with the weekly roundup of matches, and we've had some interesting ones this week. We'll start off with Group A. So Ben, was there anything to note from Group A? Any close matches, perhaps, that shouldn't have been so close?
Well, map 1 of UCC versus Maynooth seemed to be quite close. I didn't actually catch the match myself because I was playing at the time, but I saw the score was 16-12. Yeah, that's probably a bit closer than UCC would have thought, or anyone really would have thought that game would have went. Yeah. So I need to just check the.
Ryan, did you see the game?
Scores.
Yeah, I actually I took the time today to watch it back because I was recording last night and right, I'm not going to sit and say it was an absolute banger because the only reason, in my opinion, it was close was there was a lot of overcommitting to sprays that people just weren't landing. It was my first time actually catching the loveliest unicorn or the silliest unicorn or whatever. Reoccurring topic on the show, but no, it was my first time ever catching him, and yeah, he bangs heads off. Like it's exactly what I was told beforehand. He, in my opinion, is the only reason it kind of came even that close to double digits for Maynooth, but people just kept giving him an opportunity where he wouldn't have found it against teams who were more on the mark at that point. But at the end of the day, they gave them a good run. It was the first map was interesting, second map not so much. A lot of poor economical decisions from Maynooth, but it was a fun watch at least,
Yeah, I caught the game. I was watching it actually live with the players. We rewatched the VOD together, listening to some of their input, maybe some calling issues. I thought Mirage was maybe closer than it should have been, and I happen to know Deciduous Unicorn loves Mirage. It's one of his home maps. And that was made pretty clear. Like, that guy's aim is crisp as fuck. Like, he's so good. And UCC didn't really deal with him too well, it felt like. Especially on a map that UCC would first pick against most teams. They're very comfortable on Mirage. And it's maybe not the showing they'd want. And it's maybe not the UCC that we're going to need to see for next week, when they're playing back six. I think I was informed as well that Maynooth are now out of the season. I think now by not winning that game, they don't have the points to get fourth. I could be wrong on that, but that's disappointing for them. To be honest, it was kind of one of those teams that could have gone either way. I think, like I said, Deciduous Unicorn, I know of him. He's very skilled. Not so familiar with some of the other guys, but a valiant effort all the same. Like it's a big effort. Did you watch the game at all, YungLunchMoney, or were you busy?
I didn't watch the game, but I was actually expecting for them to at least get out of the playoffs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I thought they had enough potential to actually get out of Group A, especially because Group A has a lot of tough teams, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I personally don't think, for example, MTU Team C should be in there. Like our team should be in there instead. It's like I don't know how they did the seeding, but
Yeah.
it's not accurate. But at the same time, they can't be going out,
Yeah.
checking like in their free time who has how many hours, who has what kind of skill and stuff like that. It's personally, I think the seeding was bad for the team because I think they could have gotten out of the playoffs if they were in any other group, and they could have shown much more potential then.
Yeah. I think you echoed the sentiment of a lot of the
Oh, you've cut
the
out
Group
there.
A.
Oh, never mind. You
Oh,
cut out for a
yeah.
second. Just you might have a noise gate or something.
Like I know UCC were unhappy about this as well. Like it is a tough group. It's obviously the hardest group. I think even maybe putting Maynooth somewhere else, maybe putting a lesser team in there would have maybe evened out. I don't know. I think just the fact having back six and TUD in the same group is maybe a bit dodgy, but I don't know how you'd really go about fixing. And I know Gambra was saying recently that that for next season they're going to get player input for seeding the groups and stuff, which is going to be huge because that's
Okay.
Yeah,
like,
for
that's
sure,
what
that'll be
ESL would do.
interesting. I think
I
he
mean-
said they might end up doing something like where each team ranks. of the
Yeah,
other teams.
I think ESL did it for one of theirs. So they basically get each team to rank every other team, and then they do an average. And if you're like a certain amount out of the average, so say you put TUD as like bottom seed, then that just gets removed from the overall results and doesn't count towards the average. And then when they get an average of everyone, they basically just seed it off it.
Yeah.
So they would like remove abuse, like if someone's abusing, obviously if someone puts TD as 0, they'll just remove it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it gets rid of people over every like one team overhyping someone to get an easier group or something
Yeah.
like that.
No,
Yeah.
Another thing I've heard from like a lot of players that they want to see is like a kind of losers bracket, since they keep wanting to like participate in the competition, like
Yeah.
obviously with the losers or whatever. There might not be a prize pool, but they just want to get to play with other colleges, they're not aiming for the top, they're just there to play. And like
That's
if they don't
actually
make the playoffs, they can't play. If they don't make the playoffs, they're just gone. And a
Yeah.
lot of players are really want to play with other people from other colleges, especially in Ireland, because like it's how you make friends. It's like we're not only here to like win, we're here to make friends and like get along. See how the Irish CS scene is like and expand it. And if they have this loser bracket, it will help, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like for
Yeah.
a lot of teams like Ben's team, like it'd be great to just like it's a more social team, not a team that's
Oh,
really
yeah, of
win
course,
anything.
yeah.
Nah, I joke.
the man who just lost to.
Okay, we'll get there. Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
all in
We'll
good
get there.
time, my
We'll get
friends.
there.
Let that out.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that's interesting. Like a lot of teams, I feel like everyone wants to win, but a lot of like the B, C teams, not my team, like who don't really have a competitive chance, I would say. Like they do play for fun. They have 7 weeks of getting hammered, and then what? Like they don't. If you get unlucky, for example, and like maybe UL Tropics, you're in a group of gods when you're Gold Novas, and like you literally forfeit against TUD because what's the point? That happened. They forfeited.
Oh,
But
really?
also, yeah. He's also Paddy's Day, worth noting. But like, yeah, I feel like it'd be more fun for a lot of the lesser teams against some of the other lesser teams. Close game, you make some friends. I actually think that I'd never even considered a low bracket. That's really good.
Yeah,
Maybe
like it's mainly in reference to MTU Team C, because they personally told me, like some of the players told me that like they enjoyed playing in the competition, just not getting 16-0 or 16-1 every single game, because they're in the A group, and
Yeah.
it's just all the hard teams, and most of them are like new enough players, they've maybe been playing for half a year or a year at max, and they're playing casually, like like I've been playing since 2016, so I know how the game works, I know what to do, but like whereas they're like, oh, I know how to spray control, I know how to do nades, but like that's not enough against players at that caliber, so it'd just be interesting to see if they added something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so I suppose moving on from there, I don't think there was anything else interesting in Group A, as per usual. I think we'll probably be saying this every week. It's just the people who won were meant to win. Back
Yeah.
six beat MTU Team C. I don't know if anyone would consider that an upset. I personally wouldn't. And then yeah, NUIG Talon had a bye and Tropics forfeited. So nothing mad interesting. And then I think that kind of continues on that trend of boring games continued on to Group B, where everything that happened was meant to happen. No upsets. UL3 Sports went into their game against DCU absolutely hammered, from what I've heard, which is fair enough. The day that was in it went for a few zoo skills. I hope that for them. I think we only get into interesting games when we get to Group C, the group of three of us here. So Ben, do you want to talk us through what the fuck happened in Group C?
I mean, yeah, we went 1-1 against ULB. You know, I am sad. I'm really sad. Yeah, no, I think we were expecting to get. I think we're a better team than them, and I think we just expected a 2-0, and we kind of underestimated them, especially on Dust 2. Like, they are a good Dust 2 team. We're like, oh, we'll just pick Dust 2. Like, we all know like all the basic needs for Dust 2. Like, we can just T side, we can just pug it out. You know, like I could just do like on the fly sort of calls because Dust 2 is a puggy map anyway. But I think we got like 9 CT rounds, and as soon as we went to T, I think we got like 2 T rounds. Like, their CT was just so good. Like, their long control was so solid. Like, we couldn't get into B side at all. Like, yeah. And then I think it was just the tilt factor on top of that as well. Like, everyone started molding because we're like, how are we losing to these guys? And then like everyone just started making like individual plays, things like that. You know. So.
Yeah, Ryan, did you see much from the game, or did you look at any of the numbers?
I was trying to find. Unfortunately, no one streamed it because I believe Tonzi is your resident in-house streamer.
He didn't play map 2,
Um,
and obviously he diffed for the second map, presumably to go drink, which is a fucking travesty in and of itself. Like, because what stood out to me though was your sub Broken. I don't think anyone would have expected him to be sort of middle of the pack, and that's probably one of the places where you just went, oh, so horribly wrong. But at the end of the day, it's easy for me to say. I'm not really a player in the tournament, but you know, it's just very interesting to see that you went into the game sort of thinking, you know, it was easily had, because at the end of the day, you have only really started winning the last couple of games, and especially the first map against MTU. You know, they had a sub in, but you know, I'm not gonna sit here and belittle one of my co-hosts, but yeah, he's definitely probably should have taken it a bit more seriously to avoid the embarrassment.
I'll move on from that and echo what you said, that you're not going to want to embarrass your co-host. And I'm going to embarrass my co-host because I know he'll do the same to me, and it's justified. You can't lose to ULB, bro. I feel like a team like that, I mean, they're a hard team to play against, and they're good guys there, but they're not the highest level. And I believe their highest rated player is the P90 player.
I swear, like anytime we went like B, A, wherever, he was there. He was there with this P90, and like you try like pre-aim an angle or like a common like spot, and then this guy just like running binks you with a P90, and it's just like, I think that just adds to the tilt factor.
Yeah,
overall.
You got to keep that P90 under control.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was an unlucky game. I mean, it does happen. Dust 2 is the map of upsets as well. I mean, we didn't let it happen to us. I mean, we beat ULB on Dust 2, and they had the same players. But I mean, to a lesser team, I can understand something like this would happen. But I mean, we'll see next week. And then if we're talking about absolute tragedies, we should probably go on to Mold Me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's my turn now.
Okay, so Ben, what happened with UCDB and MTU A?
Oh, UCDB and MTU A. It was a 2-0 to MTU A. I think map 1 was seemingly a fairly close affair, 16-12 to MTU, and map 2 was a complete blowout on UCDB's seemingly best map. So, talk us through it, Sam. What happened?
Oh man, it was heartbreaking. It wasn't what we wanted to happen. We'll be honest. We did go into it understanding the MTU were probably one of the better teams in our group. We, before the tournament, kind of recognized that maybe they'd be second or third best. We kind of did assume we'd be the best, maybe QUB. Who knew? And when we'd beaten QUB and we'd lost the second map, 16-14, we figured, okay, there's no way we're losing to MTUA. Maybe we didn't do enough homework. I mean, we'd watched demos and we'd seen their overpass, your overpass, in fact. You're here. I don't know why I'm saying there.
Yeah.
And we were like, how the fuck did we lose? Like, your overpass, I'm sorry, but like against QUB,
No,
it looked like you were squeaky ducks against their guns. Like, it was, what was the difference? Do you know?
okay, so there's a bit of a difference, right? There was internal discord with the team, mainly because of me. Okay, I admit. Like, I had a quarrel with a different MTU team player, and because of that, like, it caused discord in our team because there's like his friend was in the team and stuff like that. So we had to throw in a guy who hasn't played in a while, because he was our only like sub. Another huge factor, which I'm really ashamed of, is that it was the first time I launched aim labs, and I thought it syncs sensitivity and stuff like that. So every shot I took in CS came short. Like every flick I did came short because I thought it syncs your goddamn sense, but it doesn't. But mainly, like, honestly, I think I was the main factor we lost that overpass game just because of that. Because I feel if I could frag out more, especially Fraxer was fragging out really good. Usually he's not the type to like frag out like that. He's usually like the support player, or something like that. He's able to get the kills if need be, but he doesn't go out and entry frag. But he was like entry fragging like mad. He was getting the kills. But if I stepped up to the game and I was able to get those kills as well, you'd definitely see an overtime, in my opinion. Like, it was unfortunate what happened, before the actual match. So it didn't come out as we had expected. Either way, the enemy team was really good. Like, they were good, but like we thought we had a fighting chance,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we thought going into
Yeah.
our game against you guys. And when it heard that you weren't going to be there for our game and you'd be used as a sub, I'd kind of written it off as like, okay, we're going to go, because I definitely understood you as maybe being one of the better players on the team. Maybe it's just because I know you, maybe not. I don't know. I just had that inherent bias in my head that you would be after Nalco, you'd be the one to watch. So we kind of went into the game with a lot of confidence and overpass. We started 3-0 on our T side. We were going in. We felt really good. And then Nalco happened, and we got Nalco'd. Like, there's no two ways about it. And to be fair, to credit to the rest of your team, no disrespect intended, it did feel like everyone had a life game. And I'm not just saying that because they beat our asses, but players that I've watched demos of, looking at the ground when they're running about, these guys were hitting the craziest shots I've ever seen. Like, you mentioned Fraxer there. I think Fraxer's had an amazing couple of games recently.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
He fragged out
Colin as well.
Yeah, he played well against us.
Yeah.
Man, if Colin, you're watching this, I love you, man. I honestly love you. He popped off. Like, he popped off in that game against C. Like, honestly, he was like helping Nalco mop the floor with G in the second game. No disrespect, obviously, but oh my god, he had a life game that match. Like, Colin and Nalco, star players that match, definitely.
Yeah, no, but for sure.
McDonald's warm up now.
No, McDonald's warm up. No. I mean, overpass was close. There were a lot of rounds that really just came down to you guys winning 1v1s or 1v2s, or we got decode so many times. Like, when just Eagles, Nalco would kill 3, and I'm like, what can you do? I mean, we didn't have. This is not a bitchy excuse. I mean, it is, but we didn't have one of our better players in the day that was in it. We lost him to Paddy's Day.
It's not a bad excuse, like, because like, look, our game or last week's game, we didn't have PK, was it? And look how that turned out. Overpass, like, we got mocked, really.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could have won overpass with that player, but Inferno wasn't close. I can't. And Ben was right. Inferno is a map that we're very comfortable on. It's one of our better maps, and I think just the tilt from losing overpass, it kind of went into that. And first round, we're like, fuck it, we'll do late B, we'll flash. Nalco's sitting sandbags, baiting his teammates. He kills. Like, what can you do after that?
It's not really baiting. He's utilizing the teammate. He knows, most of the time he won't get you killed, but on the odd chance you will die. But look, it's for the better of the game. We know because we've played together. You know what I mean? Especially like since you were missing your better player. You weren't used to playing with the new 5th guy. Like, obviously he's a sub, but you played with that guy before most of the games, so it was really hard to get used to. Obviously, if you didn't do as much practice before,
To be honest, I wish that was an excuse we could use, but we've kind of alternated players. I mean, we definitely hoped to have had Rossi, the guy that we couldn't get for the game. He's definitely, in terms of like level, he's definitely, I would say, maybe our second best. I mean, I can't take anything away. Significant to my team really popped off. Top fragged the server on a map we lost on the first time, and then, to be honest, it was just, like I said, on Inferno, Nalco just decided to bend us over and eat what was inside. To be pretty brutal about it. Like, his He aced us just by running down Banana with an all better in every way. Nothing we could have done. All we can do now is kind of just look forward to our game next week, and that's the perfect transition to looking at next week's games as well. So Ryan, is there anything of interest coming up next week? Would you?
I will have to. Oh yes. Group C always delivering content, and I'm sure it'll be a very interesting week for us because it's Ulster Unicorns versus UCDB. I believe, like, I'm pretty sure the groups are all sorted anyway, so it's just going to come down to personal pride. But that should be one to look at. And saying as both teams sound like everyone on them are molding, I'm sure it's going to be a fun one. I don't really have anyone coming out in front.
Both teams nicely on form for the matchup.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're on form for a bit of drama coming out the end of it. Like, but it'll be interesting because, in all seriousness, I think you guys in UCDB are probably a little bit better than Ben's team, but I think the individual, I think it's going to be a bloodbath, honestly, between individuals. So we'll just have to see how that goes.
What's your thoughts on the matchup, YungLunchMoney? Because we need a second opinion that isn't Sam or myself.
I know both teams well enough, right? I know Buchel more, but there's one factor that can change the game, and it's this: Belong is broken coaching. Yes or no?
He will be coaching.
Will be coaching. Yes. Buchel, I'm sorry. Look, this is gonna be an easy 2-0 to them. You'll be lucky to get a 1-1, right?
Yeah.
But like Broken, you should have seen his coaching. I don't know what's going on there, but since he started coaching, crazy, they've gotten like instantly better. He sees the game live with you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like while coaching,
So like he has a real eye for the game. Like
I thought he sees into the future for a second because he predicts some shit that, like,
Jesus Christ,
shouldn't be happening. Like this guy, like Broken, like average player, like a bit above average player, you know, like when he was playing. But then coaching, man, he could become a coach for this team forever. Like
his calling all along. He should have really been coaching from the start.
Yeah, but then UCDB, I'm a bit of a fan for them as well, you know what I mean? That's why this is such a hard decision. Like, but I definitely think it'll be an interesting match. I think probably a 1-1. If not, I actually can't tell you who will get the 2-0, you know, like, but I have a good feeling about a 1-1 because both teams are great, like, show great potential.
Sam, I feel a bit of a wrestling style promo coming on here from you. So what's going to happen and how are you going to win?
Okay, so we've pretty much got an idea of what the veto will be. We know how to take them on their best maps. It's just about... I can't give away too much, okay? I know exactly what they'll pick. I know exactly what they'll do because I've been doing homework for weeks because of the shit they've been talking, of course. But in all honesty, I do think it will be a close game. And like Bloodbath is the perfect description because not only in terms of seeding, and we'll talk about that next, in terms of seeding, not only do we have to 2-0 them, we have to batter them in terms for the round differential. So I don't think we can lose 9 rounds overall or something like that. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that's the only way we'll get second if we 2-0 them with third. But we're going into it and we're hoping to not let them. And that's really the goal. We're bringing the guy that missed last week. We're planning on doing practices every night because of the importance of the game. So we're doing daily games. If it's a scrim, if it's a poke, we're getting the team cohesion up because we felt that wasn't on point. And we're literally just going to go ham. We're going to absolutely rip into them. Any response, Ben?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting one. It's really just going to come down to individual performances, like, isn't it? I think we can like anti-strat or try predict the map pool as much as we want. But like at the end of the day, like, what are you going to do when Blue Penguin W's out, like W's down Meta Mirage or something and one taps 3 with his deagle? You know, like same with what if Significant, you know, just runs out A site Mirage and gets bunch of kills. Like it's gonna just come down to the individual performances, I feel. Especially because I know you're a big demo reviewer and a big fan of anti-Stratton a bit as well. Now I feel like I can do like a decent job of adjusting to that and calling on the fly. So I think it's going to be an interesting one, really.
Yeah.
Where it's going to go. I'm not gonna overhype my team and say that we're going to win it.
Yeah.
I think it could go the way of a 1-1 again.
Yeah.
But it again, like it's going to come down to the likes of, does Jonathan want a 30 bomb? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, does
Yeah,
he
I mean,
decide?
that's kind of what I see as maybe, and kind of why I feel a bit more confident going into it. I kind of feel like the win factor is Jonathan. Maybe Blue Penguin these days. He's definitely on form, and obviously Tom can show up if he decides to. But I feel like
What is
in
this
these
for practice or the game?
this is for the game. This is for the game.
Okay.
I feel like Ben and Envy are definitely a bit streaky. Tonzi I could throw in there as being kind of streaky up and down. Jonathan and Penguin are really win factors. And in terms of, I just feel like overall we have stronger individuals. But like you said, anything can happen on the day. And if I'm being realistic, I think 1-1 is probably the most probable. We'll probably win the map we pick. You probably win the map we pick. And that's kind of just how it's meant to go. That's how a best of two should, on paper, go. I think that's kind of how it'll turn out. But it should be an interesting match. However, I don't even know if it's the most interesting match of the week.
Yeah.
Brian, do you want to talk us through what else is going on?
Yes, we discussed it extensively on the last one, which was probably a little bit of an oversight on our part, but UCC NetSoc Rebels against QB back six. The battle for second place, pretty much, for Group A, which I say might, will definitely be important for seeding, because I believe whoever comes in second will end up playing ULE. UL Esports. UCD. And then whoever gets third will play UCD. So it's pretty much a must win for either team, potentially. Obviously, UCD Leviathans have been having their own struggles, which you can hear all about on Sunday in my podcast with Adam, which will be coming out promptly at 3 o'clock. Yeah, very shameless. But it's definitely, it's going to be very important to see which team comes out in front. I think when we talked about it, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but I think didn't you go for a 1-1?
Yeah, I went for a 1-1. I think I said it does depend on the likes of a performance from a player like Darkness. And this week against Maynooth, he got 9 frags in one of the maps. You know, like what if that happens against the likes of a back six? Like it could just, they could just take the map off the back of that. You know, but yeah, that I think it is just going to come down to how individuals play. I think back six will just be solid in their team play as always. So if UCC want to show up on an individual level, then yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know. I did say last week I predicted a 2-0 to UCC to go against what you guys said, but after seeing the Maynooth showing and how disappointingly close that was, I don't want to say I'm backtracking, but I'll still go for a 2-0. I'm still going to go for a 2-0. Okay. But less convinced, and I'm saying it with less of my chest because I can't put my heart into saying UCC will make short work of them, because I mean, back six, I haven't been too impressed with them, but I don't imagine, now I don't have the data handy, I don't imagine they played Maynooth as closely. Maybe they're playing next week. No, they're not. No, surely they would have already played. I don't know what I'm saying.
I'll take a quick look here, but just keep talking.
I imagine it wasn't as close there. It kind of looked like after the start UCC had, they went 8-0 up on Mirage, and it kind of looked like they should have been running away with it. And they started throwing a bit, and they looked like they were getting a bit tilted. And I spoke to some of the guys, and they were getting a bit upset with themselves. They lost some rounds they shouldn't have. Some silly mistakes, and you did highlight Darkness as a player that does need to step up, and he's a friend of mine, but he didn't step up in that first map, and maybe that was a win condition for them. Who knows? Maybe some of the other hitters that they would normally see didn't also show up. Like I have Linny Boy.
You don't expect Otter to be the top fragger in that team.
No,
he's a good player, but compared to some of the talent in that team, you know,
I still believe in Otter. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, all credit to Otter. He went 32 in regulation. Like that's a big game from the in-game leader. Whereas like you see Linny Boy, who's, I mean, he still went positive, but 19 kills from what is meant to be their best. Like it kind of looks like Otter just took the games into his own hands. And watching the game as well, he had so much impact on mid, which is, as we know, the most important part of Mirage. You did say you highlighted Darkness, but he had a decent second map. 18 and 16. He did 1.17.
looked it up.
Yeah, like he did step it up, but I do agree. I think he is going into the next game. Whether they'll still win, it'll come up to the day. I think it's going to be the best game of the season, though. Do you have any input, YungLunchMoney?
I don't know both teams much well, only like UCC, because Otter, like I played with Otter once, I think, or twice, and like he's not one to frag out or anything, but from what I have heard and from the demos that CJ has watched, my team captain, he said that he knows how to lead the team, you know. So clearly, like if we come out of the playoffs and we have to play them, that's why CJ's watching all these demos. But like I have a feeling Otter might be able to lead his team to a victory, you know. Like I'm expecting a 2-0 from them. Obviously, this is a bit much to ask, you know, because both teams are great. Don't get me wrong. Like they've had flawless games, obviously, against TUD. We all know that. But like I think they can definitely try to get the 2-0, but I'm expecting a 1-1 on that as well, you know, because both teams, great teams, obviously.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what map, because from what I know, I don't want to leak anything, but the UCC guys are very comfortable on overpass, and back six pick overpass. So, and I think they're expecting an overpass game. So I don't know if the UCC that showed up against Maynooth in overpass, I don't know if that's a back six beater, to be honest with you. But as we said, it'll just come down to individual performance. Whether Linny and Milk can do what they need to do, if Otter and the rest of the boys can do what they have to do, which is just support the other two really at this stage, isn't it? They'll be good. That said, actually, the other guys aren't good. I can't take away from them. But it does seem like Linny and Milk are the roster into their own hands. Was there anything else out of curiosity that was coming or is of interest coming into next week's games? Any close games?
There's Trinity DCU next week.
That's good. Where do we think that is? Where do we think that's going?
I still think DCU take it 2-0, but I think Trinity might be one of the only teams to sort of semi-challenge them out of the other teams in that group. You know,
if you're to pinpoint one win condition for Trinity, for example, because they are the underdog, what would that be? Well, Brian, what would you say Trinity to upset them?
It's pretty much always going to be the same thing, especially at this level of Counter-Strike. Like, we always talk about the tactical prowess of like a QUB back six. Not, I'm kind of yet to see that, but that's, for a different discussion. At this level, you're probably always going to be looking for the individuals. And then, just looking at the roster there, you've got like your Quigs. Unfortunately, with Battle Fi, you can never really tell who's always playing the games, whenever, because it shows subs and all. But I think TCD definitely have a couple of the individuals that, if they pop off, they could make it interesting, which I think is all you're ever asking. I think ICE are going to be quite spoiled as to what game they want to pick, which is a good thing. They're not normally, and still they make the wrong choice sometimes.
yeah. Let's see what map's gonna get streamed next week. Maynooth Toad is coming up, like something like that.
Right. Yeah. To be honest, I think it'd be unlikely they stream UCC, just considering they just did that.
Yeah, definitely.
So probably not. Maybe UCDB. We all want to see that.
I mean, obviously,
I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, that would be good. You guys have MTU. You buy this week as well, don't you?
Yeah, we have a bypass. Yeah.
Are you expecting to win against Buy, or do you think like every fucking week?
I've heard that Buy were good enough, right? They've for some reason none of the scores got reported on Battlefield, so I can't really judge off that. It's just been 2 lines. So I don't know. I'm expecting a good game anyway.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a game that'll go positive.
Yeah.
Big game from you. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing you're playing against Pi, because I spoke to Nalco, inarguably your star player, and from what I know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Nalco has, breaking news, decided to step down from your roster. Do you want to speak anything on that?
So Nalco, obviously everyone knows him because he's our star player, literally the best opera I've seen in our team anyway. But he's pretty much been a big factor to us winning. He's very good at IGLing, he can stay calm and composed during the game, even though, let's say, I couldn't stay as calm or composed in a game. He was able to like kind of call a timeout, and just kind of chill the atmosphere, even though like I was in the wrong, let's say. we had this overpass game. It wasn't last overpass game. I think it was a different game we had. Forgot the team, but things got a bit heated, because the short pushes weren't working out on B. Yeah, so Nalco just calmed us down, called a timeout. Went over the strats with us, and he's definitely made for an IGL. But it's really weird because I've never seen an IGL like that just frag out. Like he gets mad frags, and it'll be sad to seeing him leave because he's such a good player. But at the same time, I think that we'll still be able to compete in the tournament, because we're hoping to get another player in. That's a bit of a secret right now, but yeah, we're hoping to get another player into the team and have another go after the playoffs.
You've got a new Nalco in the books that you've been hiding.
Not a new Nalco, but definitely a new IGL.
Okay.
But like, he won't be able to frag out as much, I'd say, but he'll be able to lead the team. Crucial decisions, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I definitely, when I heard that, and I actually spoke to him directly about it, he told me in an ICL pug of all places, and my first reaction was, "You cunt! You couldn't have done it a week earlier," because he just beat us around, and then decided he wasn't having fun with it anymore.
Yeah.
So that was a big fuck you to me. But
yeah, he's actually a busy person. Like, it's not like he's just being an asshole. Like, oh, I'm gonna fuck these guys off first. He's busy. Like, he's busy. Everyone has a private life. Stuff comes up, and
no,
he can't be wasting his time in this.
Wasting your time playing video games.
Yeah, no, it's a waste. Yeah, for
him. No, yeah. I mean, good luck to him in whatever he's got coming up next. It'll definitely be interesting, and I think the story going into leaving the groups, which you guys have pretty much secured a place now. I don't think there's any way you won't make playoffs at this point.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. Have you figured out next?
You cut out there. You just have you figured out?
Have you figured out who you're playing after group stages based on what you likely get in terms of seeding?
See, I don't even know how the seeding works. Like, this half the seeds don't make sense. Like, with the MTU teams, they've just been randomly thrown into groups, so I don't even know what we're gonna be going up against. We're prepared anyway. We're gonna be trained for that anyway. So
yeah,
we have the research teammates and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so easy.
I think it'll be an interesting team dynamic for you guys now if you're shifting roles around. I mean, Nalco is obviously going to be a big loss.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a big loss to any team, really. So I think it'll be interesting to see how you get on. I think you are right now.
You will end up being second more than likely, because if Ulster or UCDB win out, you will be tied with them. But Cubers are definitely going to win their game. I hope I'm not jinxing them. So you guys will end up second, and you will most likely be playing. You will be playing Trinity. Unless if they lose their game and NUIG Griffin's Tail Feather win theirs, then you'll basically playing against either one of them. So it'll be Trinity or NUIG Tail Feather.
Interesting.
Obviously, one of them is more preferable than the other, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything in that group is actually beatable. I mean, looking at them, that group, the top four are realistically going to be Trinity, WIT, DCU, and there's actually a question mark about the fourth place, because I think NUIG, the B team, NUIG in that group, have a tough game, and I don't think they'll win. And actually, I know this because UCDC have a chance to get out of groups and get fourth if they 2-0 TUD, and if NUIG lose, which they will. So it's possible that they'll get the fourth seed. Obviously, it's something I want to happen. And FYI, I've been coaching them and I've been watching demos with them. We're getting them to win another playoff, a playoff winning team. But it'll be interesting anyway. I think as long as you don't come up against DCU, you're kind of okay. I think Trinity, I think they're a good team. Ekip's obviously really good. Quigs, streaky at times, but very good. Some good players on the rest of them. Retzall can step up big, but I think they're beatable. I think they have a lot of team issues. I don't think they have a lot of structure. Not very strat heavy. Just kind of Ekip go kill. Quigs do what you can do, and the rest of them just see if they can figure out what Mouse One does. But I think they're a team that definitely I'd be looking to play against. I'd like to play them. Be a fun game. I think WIT are kind of a similar position as well. They've somehow been doing pretty decent, and obviously they're not bad players. They're good players, but I don't think they've recovered without Kerbenji. I don't think they'll reach the level that they did last season, and we almost beat them last season, which would have been a massive upset. I think it was 16-13 both maps. I think they're a really nice team to play against for anyone in our group. And yeah, obviously no one wants to play DCU. I don't think even UCD want to play DCU, like UCDA, because that's a tough game. Actually, we referenced the seeding there. Does anyone see any obvious fun things coming from the seeding announcement? For anyone that didn't see it, it was announced by Gambra in CS:GO chat in the ICE Discord, and actually in a personal Discord. He put it in. But he was saying that it is A and B. Groups A and B will be playing each other. So number 1 seed of Group A play number 4 seed of Group B, and then is it A and B?
A and D.
It's A and D and B and
You're
C.
better at this. Ben, tell them what it is.
So number 1 seeds in Group A will be playing the bottom seeds in Group D. So the 4th team that makes it through in Group D will be playing Toad. So good luck with that one, guys. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with the seeding. I saw a few complaints from the likes of players who think Group A and D, some teams other than obviously Toad, who are going to win their game anyway, like that they aren't happy that good teams like per se can be going out in the round of 16. I know a few of the UCC players weren't super thrilled at the prospect of having to play UCDA or ULA in the first round of 16 versus like a team that would maybe come second or first in Group C is playing the likes of a TUD IPS AVP or UCDC, no disrespect to those guys, but that's an easier game than playing a ULA or a UCDA,
Yeah.
I really don't think there's a way you can do it without screwing a team over. Like I'd seen complaints about it, but realistically, like the skill like disparity is just too big in a tournament like ICE to have 16 teams that can be competitive against each other, even with seeding. So yeah, I'm happy enough with it. Obviously, I'd be happy with it because I probably will get okay seeding. But yeah, really. I think it's being done well. What do you guys think?
Ryan, did you get a chance?
Yeah. I took a little bit of a look at it. And it's unfortunate for UCD Leviathans, especially on their route to the finals. Potentially what people might have thought would be the final in UCD A versus although I will say UCD A based off what they've done recently, but then again you guys absolutely screwed the pooch, so maybe UCD C is the new A team.
Who knows?
But they're meeting TUD before the final. Now that, I swear on all that is holy, if ICE don't stream that game that week, I have no faith in the system, because there is a good chance that they maybe just... surely that's not the week that you also screw up. But yeah, that's going to be unlucky for UCD Leviathans. I think the reason this has worked out, it's like you had to do it better at one point. Either you seed the groups better or you choose which groups get seeded against each other better. I was talking to someone and I maybe preferred the idea that they do in football, where they take all the number 1 seeds, put them in a box, number 2 seeds, number 3 seeds, number 4, and they just, number 1 versus this random team in number 4. And if they're from the same group, redraw. But and that way it mixes it up so people don't... I'm not saying it happens, but there could be a discussion in the final week for someone to throw their game to avoid playing a better team. You know what I mean? Based on, say, if there's been an upset in one of the groups, which there hasn't really. The only one you could argue for is if someone in Group D wanted to throw to try to get a better... to try to fight go against TUD later or sooner or whatever. But, it's one of those things. At least it would give it a bit more randomness to it, and then no one can complain if it's random. But yeah, it needed to be fixed either at the very start or now, and they've just ended up with the nightmare scenario of the stacked group D, sort of like the top 2 being pretty good teams, and then obviously TUD is going to be playing one of them, so that's potentially your final spoiled.
Yeah, I think actually at this point, I mean, I would hope UCD have put their caps on, their hard-working caps, and they're going to get ready in anticipation that they may not meet the finals. and they need to work a little bit harder this time. And I really hope they do. I mean, maybe that's something you can talk about, Adam, with your podcast coming soon. But I'll see. I think right now NCI could be even in a good point to upset TUD. If we remember last season, TUD only beat them 16-14. Really close game. One of the closest games.
I think last year they had that guy called B-Wiser who would have got like 35 kills or something in that Inferno game. Like he just absolutely popped off.
I think he was accused of cheating as well, was he not?
Yeah, I think he was. I think there were a few accusations thrown around there, and he's also not playing this season. So
hint, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know what happened there. Where the guy who was suddenly insane and showed up for one game against TUD went. But I think it'll be an interesting one regardless because NCI are still a quality team.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting regardless. Yeah, like you said. YungLunchMoney, have you seen much of NCI recently? Have you had the chance to watch demos or maps or anything?
I'm a very busy man, so I don't watch demos. You know, I practically work every day, so yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, well, we'll tell you anyway. NCI good. Yeah. NCI good, UCD bad. That's kind of the TLDR of that group. But I think, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the seeding. I mean, I would be. It benefits me relatively well. I probably won't play DCU. It's kind of all I care about, really. I think really the standout ones would be TD and UCD. I think that's the big takeaway. That's not going to be the final. And it looks like UCD might not get where they'd want to. That's what I'll say. Without predicting the score as such, that's a little hush hush. TUD will fuck them. That kind of thing.
Honestly, I think DCU and TUD being set up for the final instead this time is much more interesting, just because of the quality that DCU are this year.
Yeah. What way would you see that going? Out of curiosity.
I mean,
okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone here think DCU could beat them?
No comment.
No comment. Okay. I'll be the devil's advocate. I think they won't win, but it might be close. I think that it'll Bioko. I think Bioko is definitely one of their better players. If he can have a good game, I think then it'll maybe be more competitive. Like DCU have a really good, well-rounded roster. Like Charlie's real consistent. Really good anchor on the site. I play a good bit with them. Just a really good player. I think if they have all those like middle table kind of players on their team, still a high standard. If they all turn up and maybe if I don't know, Cass has a bad game or something, which I don't know how likely that is considering how consistent.
Very unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be lucky. I think anyone that beats TUD will be lucky at this stage because just how consistent they are, and not only just in a season, in many seasons.
It's just not crazy when you talk about a team and you have to say that Cass is your 4th or 5th best player.
Yeah,
like he's insane.
Yeah, so I think they've 30 something. Does anyone have that number? They've never lost them as a 5.
Yeah,
which is just ridiculous. We actually, I think this is a good chance to pivot to some of our viewer questions as we have been live for 53 minutes. So that's a considerable amount of time. So we'll move it towards some viewer questions. And on the topic, we got a question from, I think it was Ankle Joints, UCC sub player, and I believe one of the highest rated players of the season.
Second highest ADR in ICE.
That's a flex. I mean, he played one map. It's worth stating, but still a flex altogether. So yeah, we had a question from him. If we were to build a TUD beater, right? Gods from different teams, who are we thinking? Would we say like they have to be from different teams outside of TUD to put 5 people together? What team would be the best to beat it? Does Ben? Do you have anything?
I'm not quite ready. Do you want to go ahead with yours, Sam? I think you had an idea.
Yeah, I'll have one in a minute. I remember I need to find the players again. I have them a second.
Finalize it. I've got 2 or 3 of the players.
Okay, I came prepared for this, unlike my co-host, as it appears. But I have. Do you have a 5?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you go first. So.
Okay. Jesus, this might seem like a bit of a meme, but my team, since we got into the ice tournament, right, we've made it a goal. Okay, a goal to go up against TUD, right, and we are gonna stop their win streak. I don't care how we do it. What happens? We will beat them. We will beat them. If it means I have to spin bot, we will beat them. Okay, like
if MTU A beat TUD, I will. I don't know. I'll donate €100 to charity of your choice. So if you basically
Four-star pizza.
Okay, sure. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Are you giving that to orphans or are you just gonna eat it?
I'm just gonna eat it.
Okay,
But if we lose against TUD, I will make all of you a dream pizza, right? One each, 14-inch, a dream pizza after COVID.
Okay.
Yo, I'll
Okay.
take that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
very
there's no
nice.
fucking way you're beating. So it's free pizza. Let's
We'll
go.
see. We'll see.
Okay. I went for a slightly different approach from the MTU dream that you went for. So I have a now outdated lineup because shocker, the star of this team that I was going for was Nalco, and maybe he wouldn't have made the list 2 days ago, but after what he did to me, there's no way I can't include him. I think he's too good. So I have Nelco starting off the team. I think he's going to be my AWPer for this team. I think individually he can match up really well against TUD. It's just what's behind him. So I've got a team of stars from various rosters. I brought in Comeback King from NCI, the clear standout player from them, probably the highest rated, really, really high impact. He will play the maps that TUD like. I think he could be a TUD beater. Then we've got Decilius Unicorn, a fan favorite from our co-hosts here. Just the name alone carries a lot of weight, but I think he's individually really, really. He had a really good showing that he could carry a team on his back against a team like UCC, who played a relatively close game against TUD. I think that he'd be at a decent level. And then I'm going to be biased. I do round out the roster with some of my own college players here. I've got Danny and Incipiens. And I've got Danny as an overall just a really solid player. I think he's a bit up and down from times, but I think his just individual skill can really match. He's still level 10. He's still good. And then I've got Incipiens. I think he's a good team player. He'll do his homework. He has the ability to IGL if Nalco doesn't want to. If Nalco just concentrate on his ability, I'd probably rather have Incipiens IGL. Have Nalco just kill, because that's what Nalco can do. So that's my 5. Does anyone have anything other than the MTU roster that could beat TUD?
I possibly believe so. I told you before it was a slight cop out, but that's because this roster was actually going to be playing the last season, the winter one. But I believe the import rule came in just before it, so that would have been the UCD A roster at that time, which was Incipients, I believe, Mr. Turtle, Drags, Danny, and Ruben. You know, it says here Evan would have been a sub. Evan, I love you, but no, definitely not. But just from all accounts, they were working super, super hard before that season actually kicked off. They got UCD to pay for an ASA Open season, you know, and they knew their own weaknesses coming in. I think it's really unfortunate because Drags is now potentially one of our best players. I don't know if anyone would take issue with that. If they would, just get off the show. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously now in the doldrums of UKIC because, you know, you can get scouted and all that sort of thing. So he's looking at bigger and better things. And I think it's a real shame to the scene because having him play weekly would have been very fun to watch. Maybe we could have seen TUD lose. You know, Incipients then, IGL, the exact same reason you said. Haven't spoken to him personally. He's just that sort of balancing head in a team. Just keeping everyone together. Danny, you said it yourself, he's pretty good. I haven't played or watched him, but just from hearing things. And then Ruben's supposed to be quite good. He might be the X factor who can get fired up and get behind things. You know, there's a double-sided coin to that, whereas with things start going bad, the team could maybe start falling apart. But I think it's got the fragging power there, and the X factor then, would be Ruben and Drag sort of being your wombo combo, your 2-hit punch.
Yeah, Drags isn't a name I don't think we've mentioned before.
Can't.
Because of his because unfortunately he goes to Dunleary College from what I know, but doesn't have a CS scene in the slightest, which is disappointing. And he was definitely one of the biggest losses we had with that import rule coming in. I think in hindsight actually, it's a miracle that they didn't beat TUD before, because I like not only this is going to be Drag segment up, because I think not only is one of the best Counter-Strike players in Ireland, I think he's one of the best gamers overall, if you want to use it, because he had a stint in Valorant where he was a top fucking player. He was just phenomenal at that. And I know because I worked for an organization that signed him and I hard vouched. And when I saw he was looking for an org, I pushed in every direction because I know how talented this guy is. I think, yeah, if I could have him for my team, I'd kick anyone because he's better, for sure. Ben, have you got that doesn't include drags because that is a fucking cop out.
Yeah, that is a couplet and a half. Sorry. I've assembled my roster. There's a few controversial ones in here, so I'll start off with the main ones. There shouldn't be too much issue too. Obviously, bring in Nalco when you're up. You know, quality opera, really the best opera left that isn't in PUD.
Yeah.
Bring in Incipients. I also think he's a great opper. You know, you can get the double op going. He's a really solid IGL, I think. Really like calm minds and good mind for the game. Bring in Ekip. Like there's you know, like as much as like maybe he doesn't perform like every game, like you can't get to that sort of like face Lulu without being an insane player. You know what I mean? So maybe if he was in a team that you know that they had a solid IGL and they put in the work in the practice. I think Ekip and Adam have played together before as well, if I remember right.
They played ECA and I think they might have gone to.
Yeah. So controversial fourth one here. NCI Bwiser, bring him back. You know, he was the one man who nearly single-handedly stopped TD by himself. You know, cheating accusations aside, you know, innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't been proven guilty yet. You know,
okay,
bring him back, get him back. And a final controversial one. We're gonna put my boy Blue Penguin 3 in this team.
Penguin.
You know, he is the X factor. He is the X factor of this team. Like he's the mold factor. Like what do you do when a face it level 7 player just like runs out and one taps you and like he doesn't even try half the time and he's just cracked. Like
what do you do, Nalco, when a face at level 7 penguin peeks you, Nalco? What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? When you're scoped in top, you know, you're calling scoped in top mid, swing one taps you. What do you do? Like that was where we won that map. Literally that round. We won the map.
Ferrari peak? Nah, penguin peak, man.
Yeah, penguin peak, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my 5. Controversial maybe, but yeah, that's my 5.
That's definitely controversial, and an even more controversial take in the chat from Cornflake 57 saying they should bring in Cinco from back from UL.
Oh, true, yeah.
That would be hilarious.
He was a great player, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean he was cracked before everything fell apart. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting team. I don't know if I'd put Penguin there. I think he'd be my second choice even on your team. I think the obvious one being Jonathan Long. But obviously, yeah.
You know, Jonathan's Mr. Consistent. He's solid, but you need that X factor. You know what I mean?
Who needs consistent performance?
I was about to say though, could that not also be down to how players are used in the team? Depends who you set up and that sort of thing. Did you see we did get another, I believe, 2 questions? One of them will be fairly straightforward, just in the YouTube chat. The first one is prediction of the winner of the tournament. This should go by in like 5 seconds per person. How long does it take to say a TUD?
Yeah, will we say the full name? Will that make it longer?
Go for it. So,
Technological University Dublin, I think, will win
Apes.
the tournament. Apes. Technologically, whatever. Yeah, TUD Apes will easily win, unless DCU have live games. But even still, I think a live game for what's on the DCU team is maybe an off game for TUD. The DCU guys are talented individually. TUD, like they've been playing together longer. They're all better. Like I don't think there's anyone that could beat him. YungLunchMoney, do you think? What do you think?
Look, I don't think I'll just play. Okay, we're gonna win. Okay.
Oh yeah. I forgot this.
Okay, you're forgetting the crucial point. We're gonna win.
Okay. You know, I gotta respect the confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a dream that's gonna come true. Okay. If not, 3 pizzas is not hard to make. Okay.
I do hope that goes well for you. Yeah, I think we had another question. Yeah, just before I skip over you two. Are you guys going to say TUD also?
Yeah.
I mean, pound for pound, every single player is better than every single player in the DC.
I think we probably get 2 ice teams to play against the TUD lineup to a 10v5, and I think it wouldn't be close.
Yeah, we're gonna get 45. No, counted as 2, and so 46-0 then.
Yeah, I think get every MTU and UCD roster in, and I think they'd still lose. We'd still lose.
Forgetting about you.
Yeah, I think we'll see if MTU can do it. They're our last hope, because I don't think UCD will do it now. Do we have any other viewer questions?
There was a player of the week question as well.
Oh yeah, YungLunchMoney, do you have a player of the week? And I know you weren't really around this week. Do you have a player of any week?
Look, if I'm talking about player of the week from, let's say, this week, what MTU played against DE, because that's the only match like I heard about, because I was at work. So like, look, Colin, like, honestly, I know Nalco is the obvious pick here, but I have to say Colin, because usually he doesn't like outperform himself that much, but he went like maybe 250% in that game.
Yeah.
He definitely showed that he is also able to frag out. He's also able to show a bit of carry. Definitely deserves player of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was a bit, I don't know, disrespectful of me to not highlight anyone else on the team when it was a team effort that beat us. It wasn't. Nalco stood out to me because I got wallbanged like 4 times in a row. That would stand out to you, but Fraxer really good, Colin really good. To be fair, yeah, interesting point. He definitely, considering like we could expect what Nalco did from Nalco, I don't think we could expect that from Colin. So yeah, I think he definitely would be in contention for player of the week in terms of his own individual level and how he just went up and beyond that. Ben and Ryan, do you guys have anyone up for grabs for top player?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with Otter from UCC. I think both maps there's 32 and 20, and second map 22 and 12, top frag and second frag. He's doing this while calling for his team and putting the team on his back to get them over the line, especially in the first map, 16-12 map, and he got 32 frags while doing all the calls. That's really solid performance.
Ryan, do you have anyone?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the easy route and say Nalco. Just because A, it's getting late, I'm tired as fuck, but also B, for pretty much, it's like the same reason Ben is giving it to Otter. The man calls and he's just slapping kids with the op week in, week out. It would be nice to start to like throw underappreciated names, but at the end of the day, it's about winning games, being the best, and not just participation awards. So yeah, I would go down Nalco's route.
Yeah, I think interesting. Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Ben on this. I'm going to give Otter player of the week for me, because what Nalco did, he was calling. He performed really well. We did it against a team that wouldn't fight back, right?
Yeah.
Like he was beating us up, and we could do nothing. We were not on form, and it was a much easier time in terms of calling and fragging. Otter played against a team that did fight back when his team were letting him down. He called, he opted, he got them out of sticky situations. I have to give him credit. I think he had a really phenomenal, especially that Mirage game, holding mid pretty much on his own. Was pretty impressive. Some nice clips as well. Not a flashy player normally, hit some nice shots, so I'll go with him. And I think that was all for all of our questions. I got asked him, I would sacrifice myself and kick myself off the B team if Drags could replace me. That's a hard one. Do I want my friends
a quality player or Sam's hurt ego?
Yeah, see, the core of the team. No, I don't know. I'd like to see my friends win, obviously. Like the likes of Mushimaka on my team, played with me for a long time. I'd love to see him do better than he's done. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably yes. I mean, kind of the obvious answer, right? But my ego would be very hurt. But there's no question, Connor is much better and ever will be. And yeah, I don't think there's any more questions for anyone. So I think we might wrap it up there. We've been going for a cool 69 minutes, actually. Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So I don't think there's a better sign that we should finish things up. So I'd just like to say a big thank you to YungLunchMoney for coming on, talking to us about MTU, talking about what his thoughts were last week's games, this week's games, what I've got coming up. I wish you the best of luck against TUD. I think I guess good luck to TUD, because this man's going for the throne. And I think we'll finish it there. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, we plan to do these every week after the ice games, and I think we've got some interesting discussions for next week.
We'll see who gets the shit talk the other co-host next week.
Yeah. So thank you, and we'll see you again.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.